Good morning to all the people of Puerto Rico. Good morning to all of the press. Thank you for being here once again. We are here to update you on the current situation of Puerto Rico, what have transpired in the past 24 hours, where are we at in the critical priorities. And I remind you that our priorities at this juncture are to make sure that food, water, and other supplies gets delivered to the people of Puerto Rico, that we can have an effective rotation to have hospitals working so that they can give proper service to our most vulnerable, to make sure we establish communications and telecommunications as quickly and effectively as we can, to distribute and to provide energy to major important areas such as hospitals and water supplying, and air traffic control, as well as maintenance and accounting of the assets that are coming into Puerto Rico. I want to remind you that if you want to help Puerto Rico in any way, we have several vehicles to do so. UnitedForPuertoRico.com provides a platform for anybody that wants to donate, as well as our 800 number. It's 202-800-3134. We want to report that in terms of the personnel, we have increased, the DoD has increased their presence from 4,600 about 36 hours ago to about 6,400. So as you can see, there is increased capability. Those capabilities are expected to increase, reach to a point where it'll increase and decrease depending on the necessities. Remember that the DoD is supporting on certain tasks and logistical tasks. So for example, if a task is finished, some of those assets might be retrieved, while if other ones come in, new assets might ensue. By the same token, FEMA has all of their personnel helping in different areas of logistics, distributions, making sure that generators are installed and getting to the appropriate places based on our priorities. I would also like to announce that I will be traveling today in some of the missions. Today we'll be going to Vieques and Culebra, as well as Añasco, to provide services and food, and as well as to communicate with the leaders in those different areas. I would like to state that our dual status commander for the National Guard is General Reyes, and our state coordinator is Secretary Pesquera, as well as let you know that some of the updates on the different priorities that we are going to be working on. Number one, gasoline and the distribution of fuel. We've been increasing the number of gas stations that are open. We've gotten to a point where it's over 720 gas stations that are working, and that we are verifying that distribution gets there appropriately. The different providers have been working with the private sector to get transportation, make sure that during nighttime as well as the daytime they can be distributing fuel and it can get to the people of Puerto Rico. We also informed that we will be receiving more supplies in the coming days in terms of fuel, both in gasoline and in diesel. We expect that we will get 300,000 barrels of diesel by today, 100,000 of gasoline. Next couple of days, over close to 500,000 barrels of diesel, and close to 1 million of gasoline. So the flow is coming. Gasoline is getting here, and we have sustained levels as we use diesel and gasoline, but also are refurbishing it. So right now we're at close to 550,000 barrels of diesel in Puerto Rico, and 470,000 barrels of gasoline in Puerto Rico as well. I would like to reiterate to the municipalities that they can sign contracts with our general services account that will allow them to get fuel for their needs as a municipality. And this is critical because in this united front, in this collaboration, it is essential that we provide the services, the needs, so that municipalities can work appropriately and help in the supply chain that we're working on. So right now we have 16 municipalities that have gone into those contracts, and we hope and expect that more will be jumping in as well. I'd like to talk a little bit about the food and water supplies that are going around Puerto Rico and through Puerto Rico, and again, use it as an example of the importance of the collaboration between the DOD, FEMA, other federal agencies, the local government, our National Guard, and the municipalities. It is critical that we can establish what the needs are, what the expectations are, and that we can showcase that this food and these water are being delivered to the people of Puerto Rico. As you know, yesterday we received about 214 containers from FEMA that are being and will be distributed to the regional staging centers across Puerto Rico, as well as some particular missions that FEMA and that the DOD will embark on. I'd like to announce that yesterday 59 missions went out individually, aside from the missions that went to the regional staging areas for bulk food and for amassing the necessities for the different municipalities. 59 missions went across the different municipalities. 22 of them from the effort of United from Puerto Rico, from the Office of the First Lady, 13 from the National Guard, and 24 from FEMA and other federal agencies, as well as 2 efforts towards airlifting food and water to 2 communities or 2 townships that have communities that are very much so limited in terms of the access, and those are Utuado and Jayuya. Those 2 towns have had severe devastation in terms of their infrastructure. Some of the communities are disconnected, so one of the main efforts that the DOD will take on will be making sure that we can air supply some food and water to those communities while we establish a direct connection through the roads. I would also like to state that in this spirit and in the effort of collaboration, we have 11 regional staging areas, but there is an expectation now to increase those, hopefully above 25, and the expectation is to in doing so in the next couple of days, that we start increasing that number from 11 to 25 and maybe more. It's a logistical issue. The more nodes that we have across Puerto Rico, the easier it is to get access to food and water from these for these municipalities. So the DOD and FEMA and our government are working together so that we can establish some of these locations and make sure that food and water gets distributed appropriately across Puerto Rico. There are close to 600 federal emergency officers that are working these routes. So there's plenty of people, and I would like to state that the State Guard and the National Guard are critical in this effort. State Guard maintaining and running the regional staging areas, and the National Guard helping deliver some of the food and water supplies that are necessary for the people of Puerto Rico. So food and water is getting there. It is increasing. The logistics and the visibilities are increasing as well. Although, as I've stated before, we recognize we still need to do much more. So we're getting everybody involved from the government, from the non-for-profit sector, from the private sector, to be part of this effort so that we can distribute food and resources everywhere in Puerto Rico. Telecoms is another critical component. We've increased now to 36% of the clients having service in Puerto Rico. As I've stated before, the distribution was one of the critical factors. Most of the service was provided either in the metropolitan area or in the northeast part of the island. So our efforts right now have been to make sure we can get to those antennas in the parts that are not communicating, and we can establish either generators or fuel for those generators, or start with priority to align those antennas. We've been working with several engineers from the private sector to make sure that happens, but in the meantime, we're also establishing SATCOWs that will provide immediate coverage in different areas that right now are not covered. So in the past few days, we've done so for the areas of Arecibo and Ponce. That has increased, of course, the number of clients that has service. And today, we expect that our expectation is that we will do the same for Aguadilla, which is the northeastern part of the island, getting some much-needed communication to that part of the island. We reiterate that now that Fajardo and Ceiba are in, landline communications are 100% in full, and we expect in the coming 72 hours to install other SATCOWs on Fajardo, Rio Grande, Humacao, Sidra, and we're working on the potential of installing another one in Mayagüez as well. The total of people in shelter has been reduced. We're about at 8,800 refugees at this juncture, and 139 shelters. So again, going from 500, 10 days ago to about 139 right now. We're consolidating. We're making sure people get to their homes when they can get to their homes, and providing alternative housing in the meantime. We also state that FEMA has embarked on several missions to identify the damage assessments on the individuals. They go with their tablets so that they can get all of that data, and Alejandro will provide some of those stats once he gets a turn at the podium. In terms of the ports and the airports, today we expect to have 39 flights, passenger flights in Puerto Rico, and over 250 in general. That number again has been increasing from 6 that we had on the 22nd of September to 17 on the 27th, and now 35. And the expectation again is within the next couple of days, hopefully under a week, we can get to maximum efficiency by getting about 60 of these flights. In terms of hospitals and healthcare and public health emergency, this is another critical aspect. We're attending to an emergency, but we're also preparing to prevent what could be other public health emergency crises. So it is important that we attend to our hospitals, that everybody knows where those hospitals are. You can see them at status.pr. All the information is there on the 51 hospitals that either are energized, which are 9 of them, or that are running on diesel fuel, and that have been prioritized by FEMA logistic loop so that they can get their fuel and operate effectively. HHS has identified and is working on preparing the super medical shelters with a capacity of over 250 patients in Mayagüez, Manatí, Ponce, Bayamón, and San Juan, Fajardo being the only region where it still has that effort has not commenced. We expect that the USS Comfort will be here in Puerto Rico between the 3rd and the 4th. That will give Puerto Rico an additional an additional degree of freedom to get more patients, get service. The USS Comfort can take up to 1,000 patients. They could either be airlifted or the USS Comfort could dock. It depends on our necessity to move the USS Comfort across Puerto Rico versus the accessibility of flying patients from different regions of Puerto Rico. This is another example where the federal government, FEMA, HHS, DOD, local government, and municipalities need to have a critical loop and conversation so that we're updated continuously of what's going on. The DOD has established an effort to support logistics. We've identified that there are two major areas in Puerto Rico where we need to provide more healthcare or hospital support. The DoD will establish some alternative locations, those being somewhat in the southeastern part of the island and in the middle north of the island as well, so that we can get patients to hospitals and get the service that they need. 46 out of the 48 dialysis centers are now in the diesel loop. They're all, again, in status.pr, so that patients can find it over there, or media can help communicate where these are. In terms of personnel, we spoke about the increase in presence of DoD support over here under the leadership of General Buchanan, but there's also efforts coming in from EMACs from different states. Let me give you an update on that. We have solicited about 25 EMACs. 12 of them are active. That represents about 1,200 people that will be helping in some capacity here in Puerto Rico, whether it's technical support or security. So we have, for example, we expect we have about 210 soldiers over here to assist police stations all across Puerto Rico. We expect to receive more New Jersey Police Department today. Yesterday, we got 4 Blackhawks from New York and their crew. And there's close to, as I said, 64,000 personnel from DoD as well in Puerto Rico. 6,400, yes. We've also received firefighters, police, and expect to receive much more today as well. In terms of energy and the energy grid and energy production, yesterday we informed the people of Puerto Rico and the press that we signed a mission assignment with the Army Corps of Engineers so that we can start the critical construction of energy access for the people of Puerto Rico, recognizing that our objective is to get energy as quickly as possible to most places, to the people of Puerto Rico, but without hampering the long-term view of generating a grid that is sustainable, that is modern, and that can mitigate some of the impact that we've had in the past. Yesterday, we got the Isla Grande Airport energized, the 911 system as well, Corrections Administration, the emergency management efforts, some hotels as well. And today, the efforts will go to energize the Corco terminal and continue on the efforts with the Valdoriotti Casa de Bombas. Those are some of the updates that I have, and also finally, in terms of aqueducts, we have and water access. A generator was installed in Manatee, which provides water to 4,400 people in Manatee. So some of these efforts in collaboration, again, with the DoD, with FEMA, and others are starting to produce some results. Those are the critical updates that we have, but also Alejandro de la Campa is going to give you some more granular details on the actions that the federal government has been taking. Alejandro.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning, everybody. We continue working in close coordination with the government of Puerto Rico, with the governor, all the state agencies, the municipalities, and private sector, private nonprofit organizations, because this is a whole community concept that we're working all of us together, including DoD and all the other federal agencies. So I'll try not to repeat some of the updates that the governor just provided, and I will go through other areas or be more specific in some of the numbers. Our priorities, as I indicated yesterday, remain the same: saving lives, commodity delivery, fuel delivery and security, diesel delivery to hospitals, hospital assessments, restorations of the telecommunications, restoration of the electrical grid, and restoration of the water and sewer system. As the governor indicated, we have been distributing food and water to the 11 regional areas. So we continue doing that. Yesterday, we received a barge with a large quantity of water and meals, and they're being transported today to the regional staying areas. We started that process yesterday, and we'll continue today. And in addition, yesterday we were able to transport to 12 municipalities, direct transportation for food and also for water. And the municipalities were Jayuya, Vieques, Orocovis, Santa Isabel, Fajardo, Corozal, Canóvanas, Loíza, Orocovis, Lares, Utuado, Luquillo, and San Juan. So we're doing it both ways. We're sending to the regional staying areas, and such 57 municipalities have been going to the regional staying areas to pick up commodities. We are transporting directly to some other municipalities that for different reasons they're not able to go to the regional staying areas. This morning we were discussing with General Buchanan, Governor Rossello, the new plan that we're planning to establish of increasing the number of regional staying areas, probably over 25, close to 30. That number will be determined based on the National Guard capabilities in the armory, so that way we can increase the delivery process. In terms of the fuel task force, we are currently refueling 31 medical facilities on a 3.5-day cycle per the Department of Health priorities. Yesterday, we provided fuel to 7 hospitals around the island. Today, we're providing fuel to an additional 8 hospitals all over the island, not just in the metropolitan area. We have the details for the media if you would like to have those details after the press conference. Related to the medical task force, 9 hospitals are now back on the grid power. 69 facility assessment has been completed. 50 facilities or hospitals are operational at this time, and there are no pending assessments. As the governor said, 46 of the 48 operational dialysis center are operational. 7 disaster medical assistant teams were deployed to the municipalities of Fajardo, Mayagüez, Ponce, and Arecibo. That was done yesterday. Today, we'll have additional disaster medical assistant teams deploying to different municipalities. Related to the utilities task force, we continue coordination with EPA, with HHS, FEMA, Department of Defense, to initiate planning for the isolated communities. We're working on a specific plan to address them. We have been able to address it on a daily basis, but we would like to have a comprehensive plan for those isolated communities that because of landslides, roads that have been damaged, it's gonna be for a while until we can reach them. In terms of communication, the Fire Department New York is coordinated with the Puerto Rico Fire Department to restore communications, satellite phones requested to provide internet communication. So we have another example of the cooperation through EMAC of different entities, the Fire Department New York working with the Fire Department in Puerto Rico, and that's part of the whole community effort. We all need to respond. We all have a responsibility in this effort. Related to temporary power restoration, we continue with the installation in critical facilities. There are hospitals, there are water and sewage treatment plants and other facilities that have been identified. Yesterday, we completed several installations across the island. Today, we will continue with the leading efforts of the Department of Defense, specifically the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Related to bulk water distribution, yesterday we delivered 30,000 gallons of water to 14 dialysis centers and 102,000 gallons of water to several hospitals around the island. In addition, the Puerto Rico Aqueduct and Sewer Authority has several oasis locations around the island to provide water to the families. Airport operations. Roosevelt Road status is capable of former Roosevelt Roads, Ceiba Airport, capable of 24-hour operations, and airfield is under the Air Force Command, and we are conducting most of our operations now from the Ceiba Airport that is becoming our incident support base. As the governor indicated earlier, the San Juan Airport is open for business and is capable of handling over 250 flights per day. In terms of assistance to the families and individuals, we have received over 63,000 applications since Hurricane Maria, and we have disbursed close to $7 million to the families that apply for assistance from FEMA, and this covers the entire island. As we have indicated earlier, we're sending our teams to areas where there's no telecommunications with electronic tablets, so they can take registration from of the families and individuals around the island, and that's why we have that large number so far of 63,000 applications already across the island. That includes all municipalities, and is in a way thanks to our teams going out and taking registrations even in municipalities where there's no telecommunications. Now I would like to talk about the effort that other agencies are conducting that are very important, and those are the private nonprofit organizations, because they're doing an outstanding job in support of FEMA, in support of the government of Puerto Rico. So we are coordinating closely with voluntary agencies for distribution of emergency supplies to remote areas of concern. For example, the Lions Club in Puerto Rico and the Department of the Family yesterday distributed 600 food boxes to the municipality of Maunabo, and they will continue doing that today. Heart to Heart, another private nonprofit, have performed taking care of hospitals and taking care of patients in the municipalities of Caguas, Calley, Albonito, Barranquitas, and Jayuya. We have the Salvation Army that delivered 6,000 food boxes in 7 locations throughout Puerto Rico. American Red Cross distributed in the last 24 hours 7,000 liters of water and 25,000 meals to the municipalities of Toa Alta, Toa Baja, Hatillo, Naranjito, Vega Baja, and Quebradillas. And they are also planning, the American Red Cross, to distribute food and water to the municipalities of Humacao, Trujillo Alto, Utuado, and Comerío. The Department of the Family distribute 4 trucks with 600 food boxes to Yauco and Maricao, and completed their missions to Orocovis, serving close to food and water to over 400 families. The Department of Agriculture distributes food for 100 individuals in 6 shelters located in Manatee. And Feeding America is working with the Puerto Rico Department of Agriculture to obtain 57 additional trucks to serve 1,600 food boxes from the Department of Education Federal to senior citizens living centers. Save the Children distributes school supplies to 5 shelters in Bayamon. So you see that it's not only FEMA, it's not only DOD, this is a whole community. We all are supporting the efforts across the island. In terms of infrastructure and support to the municipalities, we have been able to approve over $21 million to the municipalities to cover some of their initial responses under the public assistance program, and we will continue approving funding to the 78 municipalities. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers continue with their missions of generators installation, debris removal operations, and the tarps, the blue plastic sheeting. Yesterday we initiated that process, and some municipalities already came to our distribution center to pick up plastic sheeting. There were the municipalities of Dorado, San Sebastián, and Cayey. And today we have additional municipalities that will be coming to our distribution center to distribute those tarps. In addition, we will be transporting them along with the water and the food to the regional staging areas. With that, complete my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandro, and now I will just briefly make remarks in Spanish. Como habíamos establecido, tenemos las mismas prioridades. Prioridad de llevar agua, comida, combustible, establecer las telecomunicaciones, tener los hospitales funcionando y trabajar con los acueductos y el sistema de tráfico aéreo para poder tener más recursos aquí en Puerto Rico. Así que hemos estado trabajando en un frente de comandos unidos en las prioridades que hemos establecido nosotros con el apoyo de FEMA y el Departamento de Defensa para poder ejecutar. Le informamos al pueblo de Puerto Rico que ayer en algún momento teníamos 4.600 personal del Departamento de Defensa, ya eso ha ascendido a 6.433. Informamos que nuestro Dual Status Commander es el General Reyes y que nuestro coordinador estatal es el secretario Pesquera. Hoy estaré yendo a Vieques, a Culebra y a Añasco para algunas misiones y también para identificar lo que son las necesidades, particularmente en las islas municipios. Debo añadir que ya se han hecho varias misiones a estos municipios, pero ciertamente estaré yendo hoy para poder participar. Sigue aumentando, ¿verdad?, el flujo de la gasolina, la distribución de la gasolina y del diésel. Tenemos niveles sostenibles ahora en Puerto Rico y todavía van a seguir entrando más por barcaza en los próximos días. Por lo tanto, estamos por encima de 500,000 de barriles de diésel, estamos un poquito por debajo de 500,000 de barriles de gasolina, pero vamos a estar recibiendo también buques adicionales hoy, mañana y en la próxima semana que van a estar suplementando esa necesidad. De la misma forma, reitero que la distribución de comida se está efectuando a una eficiencia mucho mayor. Ayer se llevaron a cabo 59 misiones a municipios, sin contar lo que son las 11 misiones para los Regional Staging Areas, donde los municipios pueden buscar información, buscar los abastecimientos. Hay dos municipios particulares, que es Utuado y Jayuya, que tienen mucha dificultad en algunas áreas para llegar a ciertas comunidades y por lo tanto el Departamento de Defensa ha estado volando para llevar suministros y comidas en lo que se pueden entonces habilitar pasos seguros para los camiones y los carros para que lleguen a estas comunidades. De la misma forma, ayer llegaron 214 contenedores que se han estado distribuyendo, en adición a los contenedores que nosotros hemos cogido del sector privado para distribuir a través de todo Puerto Rico. Se ha establecido una colaboración con el Departamento de Defensa, el FEMA, el gobierno central, para aumentar lo que es el número de los Regional Staging Areas a través de Puerto Rico de 11 a potencialmente 25 o un poco más. La idea es tener nódulos a través de todo Puerto Rico, unos nodos para que la distribución sea más eficiente, particularmente para esos pueblos que se les hace más difícil llegar. Así que durante los próximos días se van a estar evaluando esos Regional Staging Centers para poder abrirlos y que la ciudadanía pueda tener acceso más fácil a comida. Las telecomunicaciones han aumentado, hoy estamos en 36%. Los landline, ¿verdad?, las líneas fijas están en 100%, entrando Fajardo y Ceiba para Puerto Rico. Se han levantado 230 antenas, hace 36 horas eran 180 y hace poco más de 48 eran 96, así que se está haciendo progreso en ese sector. Se están estableciendo los SAT-CAUS, ya se hizo en Ponce, en Arecibo hoy se estará haciendo en Aguadilla para proveerle servicios a estas regiones que no tienen telecomunicaciones hoy, y para darle un radio de comunicación, ¿verdad?, a esos municipios. El número de refugiados ha disminuido, estamos en 8.800 en 139 refugios a través de todo Puerto Rico, por la cual ¿verdad?, se están llevando o a sus hogares o a áreas provisionales, ¿verdad?, temporeras, para entonces habilitar lo que sería el próximo paso, si es reconstrucción de hogar, si es vivienda temporera, entre otras cosas. Los aeropuertos han estado aumentando el flujo de los vuelos, debo decir. Ya son 39 vuelos, Luis Muñoz Marín, de pasajeros, y sobre 250 en términos de la capacidad que se tienen. Los contenedores, ¿verdad?, y los transportistas siguen yendo a los puertos, que es una de nuestras primeras preocupaciones, y ahora ya se está llegando a algunos niveles sostenibles en ese frente. Los hospitales, tenemos 51, están en el loop de diésel prioritario de FEMA. Se está trabajando también con el Departamento de la Defensa para poder llegar activos a esos hospitales y para poder tener también el USS Comfort, que se espera que esté aquí entre el 3 y el 4 de octubre. 46 de 48 centros de diálisis están ¿verdad?, activos y se están incluyendo en el esfuerzo prioritario de distribuir el combustible. Vamos a recibir más activos de seguridad, ya hemos recibido cientos de activos de seguridad. Con las solicitudes de IMAX, hemos tenido 25 solicitudes, 12 están activas, 34 se están revisando, 13 se están revisando, y eso representa, ¿verdad?, los activos ya representan 1.200, ¿verdad?, personal de seguridad, técnicos, médicos, entre otros, que van a estar viniendo a Puerto Rico de los estados. En términos de energía eléctrica, se ha comenzado con energizar áreas, ¿verdad?, ayer, como Isla Grande, el sistema 911, entre otras áreas, y de la misma forma pues se mantiene la prioridad de energizar el terminal de Corco. Se llegó a un acuerdo con el Army Corps of Engineers para ayudar en la reconstrucción, particularmente en la fase de emergencia del sistema de energía, para poder proveerle al pueblo de Puerto Rico energía de la manera más rápida, pero sin comprometer el diseño, ¿verdad?, y la capacidad de hacer un sistema de energía que pueda mitigar estos impactos y que sea moderno y efectivo para el pueblo de Puerto Rico. Y de la misma forma, en acueductos se han estado implementando, evaluando los generadores, con FEMA se han estado llevando, y ahora con una misión del Departamento de la Defensa, pues van a estar haciendo el loop para asegurarse que tienen combustible y que tienen mantenimiento adecuado. Así que eso es la actualización. ¿Verdad? 2 puntos adicionales. Ayer me comuniqué con el presidente y el vicepresidente de los Estados Unidos para ¿verdad?, darle la actualización, seguir estableciendo lo que eran las prioridades y los resultados que habíamos tenido hasta ahora. Me reiteran su compromiso para seguir ayudando y trayendo todos los esfuerzos aquí pertinentes para el pueblo de Puerto Rico.
Good morning. We will take some questions, one question per media outlet. We will start with Noticentro.
Hola, buenos días.
Buenos días.
Gobernador, usted acaba de dar ¿verdad?, el informe del día. Sin embargo, ahí, insisto, hay alcaldes y hay personas que han llegado hasta el centro de convenciones sobre que la ayuda no está llegando. Acaba de decir que se van a identificar unas áreas para que entonces los municipios lleguen. ¿Cuáles son los pueblos más afectados según la evaluación? ¿Y cómo se está llegando a esas comunidades? Porque hay muchas que están incomunicadas y la verdad es que la gente no...
Claro.
Hay sectores que no están recibiendo la ayuda y es una realidad, por más esfuerzo que haya y por más suministros que estén llegando a este punto.
Sí.
Y la Junta retiró lo de la demanda de la reducción de jornada laboral. Quería saber su reacción.
Sí, la logística de esto es enorme, ¿verdad? Y por eso es que está importante la colaboración con los alcaldes. Porque si cogemos, por ejemplo, los sectores en Puerto Rico, pues entonces es una tarea mucho más compleja, sobre 3.000 sectores, que buscar a los municipios. Nosotros hemos identificado a los alcaldes para poder hacerle llegar los recursos, ¿verdad? No obstante, reconocemos que hay regiones, ¿verdad?, hay áreas que se le ha hecho más difícil el acceso, pero los Regional Staging Areas están ahí para que los alcaldes puedan ir a buscar, y entiendo que un gran número de alcaldes ha ido a buscar estos recursos en estos Regional Staging Areas. Hay como 12 al momento que no han ido. Obviamente nosotros tenemos prioridad en comunicarnos con esos alcaldes para ver si es una cuestión de limitación de transportación y que podamos hacer llegar los recursos. Pero ayer a 59 municipios, y esto de nuevo está constatado, lo pueden ver en las redes sociales, los distintos grupos que están trabajando, las misiones oficiales, por decirlo así, fueron 59 misiones, 59. Encima de eso están todas las misiones, ¿verdad?, que hizo el non-for-profit sector, Red Cross, ¿verdad?, la lista que leyó Alejandro de la Campa. O sea que sí hay comida, ¿verdad?, sí se está llevando a todos los municipios. Se está haciendo, ¿verdad?, ya básicamente cubrimos a Puerto Rico casi en totalidad una vez al día, ¿verdad? O sea, 59 municipios oficiales más los otros municipios, y coordinamos obviamente para que pueda existir esa logística. Establecemos que hay 2 municipios, ¿verdad? Cuando me preguntan los más difíciles, Utuado y Jayuya, tienen unas comunidades que han sido identificadas que tienen una dificultad significativa en poder allegar los recursos. Y por lo tanto el Departamento de Defensa está sobrevolando y llevando esos recursos hasta tanto y cuando pues entonces se pueda tener acceso vial. Hay muchas comunidades que tienen acceso dificultado, ¿verdad? O sea, por ejemplo, la montaña fue severamente afectada, desde Barranquita, Orocovis, Morovis, Comerío, Naranjito, Corozal. Todo ese litoral fue afectado, y hay más municipios, ¿verdad? No me quiero limitar. Villalba fue afectado significativamente, y nosotros sí estamos dando prioridad a llegar estos recursos y estos camiones para esos municipios. Hoy saldrán otras misiones que nuestra expectativa es que sean mucho más todavía que las de ayer. Así que se está llevando a cabo. Solicitamos, ¿verdad?, encarecidamente la colaboración y la comunicación con los alcaldes. La gran mayoría de ellos se están comunicando efectivamente, están llegando los recursos allí, pero vamos a trabajar y vamos a redoblar esfuerzos con otros oficiales electos para que también sean parte de la red, y que aseguren, ¿verdad?, y que le puedan comunicar a sus constituyentes y al pueblo de Puerto Rico que en efecto estos suministros están llegando a los municipios y se están dando. Y por último, solamente un dato para que entiendan la magnitud de lo que estamos enfrentando, ¿verdad?, y de la crisis aquí en Puerto Rico. El huracán de comparativa en la historia moderna con Puerto Rico de lo que había ocurrido ahora era Georges en el 98. En aquel entonces, al igual, FEMA estaba aquí, y al igual que ahora, pues se mantiene una bitácora de cuáles eran los recursos que se habían utilizado. Lo que se llama el burn rate, ¿verdad? El nivel que se ha consumido la comida y el agua, para comparativa aproximada, lo que se ha consumido en estos 11, 12 días es ya igual a lo que se hizo por 3 meses, por un periodo de 3 meses cuando estaba Georges, demostrando, ¿verdad?, que esto es una situación mucho más compleja, mucho más severa, que sí la comida está llegando, pero también que tenemos que atenderla con mayor intensidad, y que seguimos atendiéndola con mayor intensidad. Y sobre la Junta de Supervisión Fiscal, pues solamente digo, en términos de retirar la demanda, mi agradecimiento por reconocer que esto es diferente, esto es un panorama diferente, y que nos tenemos que enfocar en otras cosas. Las prioridades han cambiado, todo el mundo que ha estado aquí lo reconoce, y me alegra saber que los miembros de la Junta también lo reconocen así.
I have to reiterate one question per media outlet because we are a lot of journalists. Foro noticioso, foro noticioso. Foro noticioso.
Buenos días, gobernador, yo presente. Con relación a los cadáveres que estaban en los hospitales, que los han pasado quizás ya al Instituto de Ciencias Forenses, ¿cómo han logrado comunicarse con los familiares para que lleguen hasta allí?
Bueno, en términos de la comunicación ha sido un reto, obviamente se le ha dado prioridad, no tengo el número de cuántos se han comunicado. Sí, les puedo informar que nosotros, por ejemplo, ayer tuvimos una reunión con la Asociación de los Hospitales, pues, porque obviamente hay mucha información por distintas áreas. Lo que nosotros queremos es constatar que esa información es correcta, ¿verdad? Y entonces certificarla para poder proveérsela al pueblo de Puerto Rico. ¿Verdad? Ya el instituto está energizado, ¿verdad? Por conducto de un generador, pero está energizado. Se tienen 4 freezers adicionales y se tienen las 2 unidades de la Guardia Nacional especializadas ¿verdad? En asuntos mortuarios para poder trabajar lo que son los cadáveres.
NPR.
Morning, Governor. Along those lines, when will you all update the number of deaths related to Hurricane Maria? As she said, doctors are reporting around the island that there are cadavers in their morgues. We're hearing more and more of this. It's in hurricanes, the number tends to go up and up, especially with a dramatic storm like this. It's hard to imagine that there were only 16 or 19 deaths related to the storm.
I get it, and I've always said that as soon as we get more information, we will provide it to you. Our message has been consistent. This was a devastating event. Obviously, you hope that the number doesn't rise, but you recognize that is a possibility. Our inside commander, Secretary Pesquera, has been dealing with this situation head on, so I would like for him to make some comments on the granular level.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good morning. We talked to all the hospital owners or managers, whatever, and we can only certify 16 deaths related to the hurricane. We're still reviewing those deaths that occur at hospitals to see if there is any connection whatsoever with the hurricane. However, there's been a lot of rumors out there that there is hospitals that were closed because of the energy situation that had bodies in their morgues. That is not the case. We have reviewed each and every case, and we've talked to each and every of the hospital managers. That was not the case, and I think yesterday I cleared it up because that was a rumor, a persistent rumor, and I want to make sure that it's taken care of.
WIPR.
Muy buenos días, gobernador. Le pregunto, hablaba que tuvo una reunión con la Asociación de Hospitales. Hay mucha preocupación por personas que están siendo estabilizadas en los hospitales y van a ser dados de alta porque ya están estables, pero que a lo mejor necesitan, por ejemplo, en el caso de un asmático, mantenerse dando terapias cada cierto tiempo y en sus residencias no tienen plantas eléctricas, no tienen manera de poderse dar el tratamiento. ¿Se habló de cuál va a ser entonces el manejo de esa parte de la salud?
Sí, hay varios componentes que van a ir añadiéndose, ¿verdad? A la medida que transicionamos de la emergencia a la estabilización. Por ejemplo, se van a estar creando los que son los super shelters, ¿verdad? Los super refugios, por decirlo así, que van a estar energizados, van a tener personal de DMAT y que van a estar, ¿verdad? Van a permitir atender estas situaciones de salud de distintas poblaciones vulnerables, asmáticos, personas que puedan tener diabetes, personas que sean envejecientes, que necesiten algún componente, o sea que eso se va a estar trabajando. De la misma forma, hemos comenzado, ¿verdad?, el esfuerzo de identificar, y esto con la colaboración de los municipios, lo que son todos los distintos asilos para los envejecientes, para también darle una prioridad, aunque hemos dicho, ¿verdad?, que aquellos que sean urgentes, pues los puedan llevar a los hospitales que están funcionando o a los super shelters para poder ir dándoles ese tratamiento. O sea que sí, se ha estado trabajando. Reconocemos que ahora, ¿verdad?, y una de las prioridades es poder hacer llegar las medicinas y los tratamientos que son necesarios al pueblo de Puerto Rico. Por eso la comunicación no es solamente la distribución de diésel con los hospitales, 51 hospitales, ¿verdad? Ahí tenemos personas de DMAT, tenemos personas del gobierno del Departamento de Salud, tenemos personas de FEMA que están en rotación para continuamente saber cuáles son las necesidades, buscarlas y poder suplirlas.
Una pregunta por medio de Telenoticias.
Muchas gracias. Buenos días, señor gobernador. I'll ask the question also in English for my colleagues, English-speaking colleagues. It's regarding la visita del presidente de los Estados Unidos. En un momento donde los recursos están limitados, parecería que el terreno todavía está sensible. ¿Cómo armonizan esos elementos? Seguramente la policía local y otros elementos que hacen falta para que esa visita se cumpla con todos sus requisitos. I'm asking in regards to the visit of the president this week. How does that as in a sensitive terrain right now on the limited resources, how does the local government work around that? How those two elements compare, and what benefits can we get from its visit during this crisis?
Right, well, first of all, you know, the president will come with a lot of the resources that will maintain, that will address the logistics, as well as the security, number one. Number two, why is it important? I think it's important that the chief executive of the United States sees firsthand what's going on in Puerto Rico, number one. Number two, his visits demonstrate, his visit and the vice president's visit later on, as well as visits of other governors such as Cuomo and Scott, demonstrate that there is interest to help the people of Puerto Rico move past this emergency and move past this catastrophe. Third, I would say that his visit over here to all of the DOD and the federal employees is very important. You know, the federal employees from the emergency side have been stretched by three disasters in the past month and a half. So it is important that your chief executive comes, sees you, sees the work that you're doing, and recognizes the work that they're doing. And I think for the people of Puerto Rico, it's important to see that even though this has been a catastrophic situation, and even though we need to do more, you know, the president will be here, and he has not forgotten about the U.S. citizens of Puerto Rico.
One question per media outlet CNN.
Lo doy rápido. Sí, rápido, I'll go with you now. Esto, sobre la logística, el presidente trae su propia logística, ¿verdad? O sea que eso no debe ser una consideración mayor. Obviamente aquí las fuerzas van a estar enfocadas en el trabajo que hay que hacer, y su visita es relativamente rápida, ¿verdad? Pero es importante porque al pueblo de Puerto Rico le deja saber que el presidente sí está preocupado y sí está enfocado en resolver los problemas de Puerto Rico. Segundo, a los oficiales federales que ya están cansados, como muchos de los oficiales locales, ver a su primer ejecutivo aquí envía el mensaje correcto. Y tercero, es importante que el presidente vea de primera mano cuál es el daño extenso para el pueblo de Puerto Rico. O sea que yo veo que sí tiene ¿verdad? Un beneficio. Sí, le podré comunicar ahí las necesidades, ¿verdad? Que yo veo que es las acciones que se tienen que tomar a la medida que yo he estado comunicándome prácticamente a diario con él, pero que lo pueda ver, que se pueda establecer y que podamos seguir desarrollando los pasos a seguir. Y el vicepresidente que viene el viernes también. Yes.
CNN. President Trump tweeted this morning that all buildings have been inspected. Can you confirm that?
All buildings
have been inspected. Does that only pertain to government buildings or all structures?
I'm not aware of such inspection. Of course, there are areas of Puerto Rico which we haven't really gotten contact. Perhaps he was referring to a particular set of buildings. I'm not sure what the context of the message is.
CBS.
Good morning, Governor. Just since you've been talking this morning, the president of the Ponce Research Institute sent a message saying we desperately need supplies in Ponce and in the areas around it. In Lares, there's a man who says they've been using a kid's swimming pool to get water, rainwater from the roof that they've been drinking. Now, you said this morning that we're doing as much as we can, but we need to do more.
That's right.
It is still an emergency situation 11 days after this hurricane. What more can you get? What more do you need in order to move this past an emergency?
People, which we're getting, resources, which we're getting, and fine-tuning the logistics of a new logistical system in Puerto Rico because the roads have been decimated. Let me put this in context, all right? And you know, any state that would have passed through the situation that Puerto Rico passed would have had as many challenges or similar challenges to us, and any state passing through this situation would have needed the full support of anybody that was willing to do it in terms of logistics, supplies, and so forth. Of course, we've talked about early and often about how you know, the differentiating facts of Puerto Rico. We're an island, limitations that we had, the strength of the hurricane, the ferocity of it, the impact that it had on all of the island. But I think it's a moment, and I invite everybody to reflect. I invite everybody to reflect on this situation. I know this might not get to everyone, but nonetheless, I really want to communicate this. I invite you to reflect on why Puerto Rico is in the current state of disadvantage and inequality. It's not something that happened just a few months or a few weeks prior to the storm. It is a condition that has happened for more than a century in Puerto Rico. I invite you to reflect on the reality that even after the storm hit Puerto Rico, and even when it was evident that it was a disaster in the United States, only half of our U.S. citizens in the mainland knew that Puerto Ricans were U.S. citizens. I invite you to reflect what it means that because of our condition, and most so in this current situation, that Puerto Ricans, the U.S. citizens in Puerto Rico, receive 1/3 of the funding for health care, as would another citizen receive it in the United States. I invite you to reflect and ponder on the reality that, in essence, half of our population, a population in the United States, lives under the poverty level. I invite you to reflect and to consider that Puerto Rico has had one of the highest per capita participation rates in our military and armed forces compared to all of the states, and right now we have over 150,000 veterans over here that don't get equal treatment just because they live here in the island. During this catastrophe, the president, the vice president, state governments, congressmen, on a bipartisan or a nonpartisan effort, have responded to the people of Puerto Rico. Governor Cuomo came over here early and brought resources. Governor Christie, as well, deployed immediately, as well as other 17 governors that have pledged their help directly to the people of Puerto Rico. We have spoken to senators, congressmen, congresswomen that have pledged their commitment to help Puerto Rico in an aid package that has the critical elements so that we can get through this emergency and that we can start rebuilding effectively. And these go all the way from Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, to Leader Schumer and Cory Booker. They have pledged their support now. I know that there is more that we need to do, but it is important that we recognize that the president, state governments are helping, are putting their resources, and just because one of them or some of them haven't put it on a tweet does not mean that they are not working for Puerto Rico. I am here to tell you, as Chief Executive of Puerto Rico, that they are, that they're working, and that they're working tirelessly so that we can get all of the resources. So I invite all of you to consider, to think of Puerto Ricans as your constituents. Think of Puerto Ricans as constituents of your own state. Think about it as a moral imperative, because we are U.S. citizens, but more importantly, because we're all equal as human beings. And if we don't consider that, because of the inequality that exists, because of the grave challenges that we have to embark on, then that presumption of thinking of Puerto Ricans as your constituents might come true because of the massive exodus that it will provoke. So now, this generation of Puerto Ricans has had to take on a challenge far greater than others in the past. We had a fiscal situation, a decaying economic, slumping economy for decades in Puerto Rico. We have a fiscal oversight board. We have zero access to the markets. And on top of that, we have two major disasters coming to Puerto Rico back to back. I know that this is a huge challenge. I know that this is a huge challenge. But I implore you that, to everyone, to look at this as a nonpartisan solution, to forget the fighting, and to focus on outcomes. And by doing so, we will get out of this emergency. We will make sure that we stabilize Puerto Rico. And by doing so, you will be part of the generation that helps Puerto Rico come out of this stronger than ever.
El nuevo día.
Buenos días, gobernador. Usted mencionó que se iban a estar estableciendo 2 centros de salud temporeros en el sureste y en el norte. Quisiera que me diera un poco más
¿Centros de salud?
Como hospitales, no, fue lo que entendí.
No, ok. Buena pregunta. Esas son las regiones que están un tanto más afectadas, ¿verdad? Tanto en términos del acceso al hospital como en términos de, ¿verdad? Del impacto que se tuvo en el huracán. Es partes del sureste y partes del centro norte, ¿verdad? De la cordillera y de las montañas. Lo que se está trabajando con el Departamento de la Defensa es que se está estableciendo un mecanismo accesible, ¿verdad? Para que estos pacientes se puedan transferir y puedan tener estos hospitales, ¿verdad? O capacidades de hospitales cerca de ellos y que se puedan atender esos pacientes. O sea que es una logística que se está trabajando con el general Buchanan para poder entonces asegurarnos que en estas regiones que están, ¿verdad? Presumiblemente más afectadas, le podamos tener todo el acceso a hospitales y a medicinas que así van a necesitar.
ABC News.
Thank you, Governor. This might actually be a question better answered by FEMA, the FEMA representative, regarding hospitals throughout the country. Specifically, you said that there were 50 operational hospitals. What do you mean by operational? And then you also mentioned that there were 2 hard-hit areas of the country, the southeast and the north-central part of the island. What's happening in regards to hospitals in those areas?
Yes, the Department of Health and Human Services, Federal, have been conducting assessments around the island to all the hospitals. The assessments results were what I mentioned earlier, that the number that I reported earlier are the ones that are operational. That means that either they have electricity. At this time, we know that only 9 hospitals or 9 facilities, they have electricity. The others are using generators, and we are refueling them with diesel. Related to the most affected areas, the governor has been clear many times, that is the southeast and the south part of the island. That's where the eye of the storm entered, and that's when the areas that created destructive damage to the municipalities, to the electrical grid, to the homes, and to other public facilities.
Revista de Salud Pública.
Gobernador, para Medicina y Salud Pública, ¿cuál es la logística del Departamento de Salud para estos brotes que se han confirmado de conjuntivitis y de impétigo en algunos de los refugios? Sabemos que los sitios con hacinamiento pues son propensos para estos riesgos. Y también la Academia de Médicos de Familia nos confirmó que hay más de 200 médicos de familia sin práctica clínica. ¿Cuál es el enlace con el Departamento de Salud y el Colegio de Médicos Cirujanos para también ayudar a restablecer la práctica clínica de estos médicos? O sea, sin médicos no existe la salud del paciente.
Sí, por supuesto. En términos de esa pregunta, ha sido una prioridad con ¿verdad? El gobierno federal y con el Departamento de Salud, identificar todos esos daños para poder ponerlos a operar rápido. Reconocemos que ahora hay unos retos de salud, pero que pueden ir evolucionando, y a la medida que pase ello, pues vamos a necesitar más médicos para poder tenerlos. De la misma forma, para atender los posibles brotes, ¿verdad? Y los posibles problemas de salud que se vayan a ir desarrollando, pues para eso hemos solicitado refuerzos federales, ¿verdad? Lo que se llaman los DMATs, ya están aquí, ya están en 7 regiones en Puerto Rico, siguen llegando más para ir estableciendo, ¿verdad? no tan solo la logística ante el daño, sino poder mitigar de antemano lo que pueda ser algo controlado a lo que pueda ser algo ¿verdad? Que sea expandido por todo Puerto Rico.
We conclude the press conference. Thank you.
Thank you.